In this video, I have the pleasure to sit down and have a conversation with the founder of Xborg. Xborg, as you guys know, I'm super bullish on what they are doing. They have been one of the loudest on the timeline, making great strides in their business, doing revenue-generated buybacks, which I think is one of the most bullish narratives in all of crypto, and recently announced their new Xborg AI initiative, where they're not only going to dive into esports, which they've been killing it in for the last few years, they are now looking at sports, entertainment, fashion, music, and more. So we're going to talk to Lou from Xborg today and just figure out exactly what this new movement means for Xborg, and of course talk to him about the revenue generated buybacks. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, and with all their developments, it's an absolute pleasure to have Lou, the founder of Xborg, joining us on the show today. Lou, how's it going? I know the market conditions aren't too fun, but bear markets are for the builders, right?
Yeah, love. I love building crypto, whether that's bull or bear. And I think when you have downturns, that's when you see who's actually building for long term.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll stick it through,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can see who's naked whenever the tide goes away, right? Or whatever the
Yeah.
term is. Who has their pants down when the tide gets low. So that's definitely the case right now. You're seeing a lot of projects across tons of niches going quiet, folding, but you guys are doubling down. Y'all had so many updates, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show today to just kind of go over everything that's happening at Xborg. For someone that may be not familiar, obviously I talk about Xborg a ton on the channel, but can you, in your own words, maybe give a summary of exactly what is Xborg?
Yeah. No, we started in the bear market of 2022, and what we do is we help. And we started with esports and gaming, but we help brands build customized experiences for their users and fans. And so concretely what that means is we build with some of the largest brands in the world, like Team Liquids. We've announced just recently Cloud9, Team BDS, 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗧. We build applications users and fans uses. And in turns, that allows these brands to build customized experiences. So, our view is that the internet is going to change drastically from one where we both have access to the same website. Concretely today, if we go to any website, we pretty much have the same experience, to one where if you go from, we believe that us two will have different websites based on how we behave as a consumer and how close we are to one brand. And that's essentially what we bring to the market, is a technology that allows those large brands to know about who you are as a consumer, and then in turn give you personalized experiences. So we started with esports. Actually, our fan app tech, which we call Fanbase, is today the most used fan tech in the whole of Web2 in the esports industry. So that's been a great achievement for us in 2024 and 2025. And yeah, now we're doing a lot of things in AI with the Copilot that we've announced. I'm sure we'll get into this just later.
Yeah, I was just going to roll in. Obviously, there was a big announcement a couple of weeks ago, kind of, I wouldn't say an overhaul, but kind of a shift in not only just planting your seeds in gaming, but moving this tech, the Fanbase app and all that stuff into different industries and really going hard on AI. Obviously, I think every brand that doesn't use AI in the coming, years is probably going to get left behind. And you guys are diving deep into that. Can you go over how AI is going to fit into like the Fanbase app or the product offering, or overall just the narrative for Xborg moving forward?
Yeah, well, it's pretty much now the core of our business, and we don't frame it that way, but it's data, is at the end of the day, the users of the platforms, they connect all of their accounts, they do a whole bunch of actions on the websites that we build for those esports teams and companies. And the companies are really interested in the data at the end of the day. And as you know, data is the backbone of AI. And so when we build our systems to help brands build custom experiences, AI is at the heart of this. And we started with this, much earlier. It's just the way it was put out to the public was not phrased as AI, but that's always been the backbone of our business. And we started a new product, which we're very excited about. Today, we have the Fanbase apps, which take a lot of time to go to development. Now we're signing Fortune 500 companies with our tech, but those are big enterprise clients, and it takes a lot of time to go to market because you have to go through custom development audits, and just a whole bunch of stuff that go into developing with top tier brands. But we wanted to build a product that solved the pain points that we're solving with the fan apps, but go to market much faster. And that's what we call the Copilot, which is essentially enabling creators to build content calendars, like a whole content pipeline, directly through AI. So we connect Discord, Twitch, X, Instagram, TikTok, and we allow creators and brands to essentially do content on the fly. So when you're going live on Twitch, for example, our bots enable you to engage with your fans in real time, and you don't have to do anything. So it's almost like your personal assistant, but for content creation. And that's going to be enabling us to virtually 100x our growth, just because of how easy it is to use the product, but also just the pricing strategy is one where it's a much smaller fee, and so we can target content creators for that, which is a much bigger market than esports or just consumer brands that we target today.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna bargain to get some access early to test this out. By the way, I'm gonna be sliding in your DMs to get access to that.
Yeah, like next 2 weeks probably.
All right, cool. Let's do it. And just kind of like building off of that, I know there's been some hints like you guys really want to move into different industries too, like entertainment, fashion, sports, different stuff like that, maybe some Fortune 500 companies that you guys are going to work with. So you guys really want to bring this proof of concept from gaming just to everything else, because I mean, bringing the fan bases of these big esports organizations in a way on chain, but really in a organic way has been a success. So you guys really want to branch that into other industries.
Yeah, well, the whole point was that in esports today, we've essentially talked to all of the teams, and if they're not being onboarded, it's because either they just don't have the budget or they're just not the right clients. But we've talked to virtually everyone, and so as far as expanding, we can't expand so much in esports now. We've only announced like 6 or 7 teams, but there are a lot more in the pipe. And we started to get direct outreach from football clubs, for example, that liked our technology and just wanted to work with us. And so initially we were quite stubborn and wanted to stick to gaming. And then, we just decided that it was time to expand to different verticals now. And now we've just opened up our business development to just not just gaming, but basically any brands any consumer brands that target the Gen Z, that basically our target market. And we are now going heavy into football as our next big vertical for the Fanbase app. And then for the Copilot, we are looking at content creators to start with.
Nice. I think that the Fanbase app has a much better place than football fan coins that we've seen over the course of time. All these club coins that are in the market.
Yeah, we're actually we have a lot of chats with Chili's and socios on for example, NIP. We are the provider of their fan tech, where there is a lot more engagement than the one they have with socios, because they have a fan token. And so we won't discuss too much about this, but at some point you might see integrations between socios and our tech, or like all fan tokens have our tech natively embedded, because we just do engagement a lot better than those fan coins.
Oh, 100%. No, I think that's a a good integration for them to take on, and as well just a good fit for the product as far as getting involved with something like football. And on
Yep.
top of that, before we move on to some other topics, just quickly, I think that first of all, you guys did one of the most organic, best jobs inside of gaming. Like, you took a niche in esports that needed something like a fan base app so that fans can feel more connected. It brings them on chain in different ways. Like, I think that that was a massive success. But obviously, as you know, gaming has not been the best in crypto. What do you
Mhm.
think has been some of the biggest flaws and the reasonings why that is? And do you think that, Web3 and gaming still have a future in the way that once we thought maybe?
Yeah, I think that all started in 2021 when you had a whole bunch of investment into gaming tokens. On the back of the success of Axes, I think Axes YGG were amongst the highest multiples in the cycle, especially late in the cycle. And then all VCs then thought it was just an easy way to make money, and then they started to found a lot of studios, and then like this quote of like bad times create easy times create weak people, and then weak people create hard times. And it's like we were in the easy times, and then that attracted a lot of people that were not very competent, and then that's sort of where we are now. And then we are in that tough phase where you create very strong builders, and then I think you'll come out much stronger than this. My view is that Web3 gaming is probably going to be around a bit virtually all games. And my thesis for that is that AI gaming studios will spin up games really, really fast. And a game is going to be very replicable. You're going to be able to copy a game super quickly. So the life cycle of a game is going to be much shorter. And so the edge of a game is not really going to be the game, but more so the distribution. And then the question is, how do you solve for the cold start issue for a game? And I think tokens will solve for that. So people will try and bribe people to come into their games, just like you had in DeFi, like SushiSwap and Uniswap, the vampire attacks of user base. I think you'll see that on a broad scale, and that is all going to start with how fast we're going to be able to develop games with AI. And I'm pretty convinced that the next 10 to 20 years, people will actually make a living off of playing games, and that Web3 gaming will make a pretty insane comeback. But it's probably not going to be the current games that you see that will be still the same in the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think that it's an overwhelming thought process of traditional devs, and I've seen it so many times. It's hard to raise money in real gaming, like Web2 gaming. It's really easy to raise money in Web3, or it was really easy to raise money in Web3 gaming. And a lot of these people just didn't know how to take that and run with it and actually create something of value. So yeah, I completely agree. And I think AI will transcend that over the course of time, which is great because you guys are diving right into that realm as well.
Yeah, no, big time, man.
Yeah, for sure. And also, obviously, I want to talk about a big narrative that's getting pushed on Xborg, which is buybacks. And one thing that I've been super bullish on for a long time, seeing some of the big protocols like a Hyperliquid executing that, it's been one of the best flywheels for value accrual over the course of time.
Yeah.
So why do you guys think that the buyback narrative works? And then we'll kind of talk about the strategy of how y'all are executing this in Q4.
Yeah, I think people's been, because altcoins has been not the flavor of the cycle, really. People then start questioning what they hold, and part of why you see those big drawdowns is people have no conviction in what they hold, and mostly because there is no contract between token holders and equity holders, and that in actually most cases there is a big conflict of interest between equity holders and token holders, such that you don't know where the revenues are going. Well, first you'd be lucky to hold a token whose business is making money, but then you don't really know if you're entitled to this profit or to this revenue. That was sort of the case with Uniswap, with the Uniswap Labs, and so I think buybacks are just a great way to give back a bit of hope on the ecosystem. And I do think that tokens, if you have utmost commitment to the token, it's actually a much better way to hold exposure to a company, because you not only get the upside of the token through the buybacks, but you also get some utility out of this if you embed the token on the protocol. Like Hype, for example, if you compare the P ratios of Hype or Robinhood, I think Hype is a better play, because the upside, the growth prospects is higher than that of Robinhood. Plus, it's got just additional utility, and the P ratios are not too far off.
Yeah, I agree. And if you look at the revenue that they're making and putting back into the chart, I think the long-term flywheel effect of that is amazing. And you guys are executing something over the course of Q4 right now, which is actually going to take a ton of supply off the market. Can you go over how much revenue? Is it all Q4 revenue that's going into buybacks over the course of the quarter? What's the timing like whenever you guys execute this? Are you trying to maybe time the market a little bit, or just setting it, forgetting it, doing buybacks over the course of Q4?
Yeah, we started this. So first, we had some great progress on our business in Q3, Q4, and we wanted to communicate that to our holders in our community. And so we thought, what's the best way of doing this? And so we thought long and hard about this, and then we said, okay, it's probably a best way to show complete alignment between business owners and token holders is to do this buyback thing. And so we're pledging 100% of our revenues in this quarter towards buybacks, and that amounts to, we've given this bracket of $1 million to $2 million. So far, we've executed about, I think, $360K of buybacks. And yeah, that's the gist of it. I think next year we'll think of a better way of executing buybacks on a more permanent basis, not just for this Q4. But so we're doing about $1 million to $2 million of buybacks. Given our market cap today, we are absorbing about 10% of the circulating supply, which is a big number. Like if you apply this to any larger caps, like for ETH, I think that would be roughly like a 40 billion buyback program.
Yeah.
And obviously we're like a more long tail risk asset, so like it's we have thinner liquidity and so on, and you can timing of the market is not the best, but at the end of the day, we like a lot of community members told us, hey, what, like you shouldn't do that this quarter. It's been the worst quarter in some time, and I think my view is that we want to make a statement. And I think this create just a great story moving forward. The token hasn't been performing so well, but like relatively to our comparables in the gaming token, we've been outperforming Beam, Ronin, YGG, and all of those like flagship gaming tokens, just because we're absorbing a lot of that sell pressure just by buying the token.
Yeah, no, Xborg has held up amongst a sea of red in gaming tokens very well. Like, honestly, I don't even think the price action over this whole market chaos has been really bad at all. Like, a lot of that obviously contributes to the buybacks, but also the conviction that people want to buy more. They want to hold Xborg. It's not one of those tokens that a lot of people look at and say, this is disposable for my portfolio. So I definitely think that's a big factor in the trust that you guys have built as well. And like the graphic shows here, you guys have already taken 8.5% off the circulating market cap so far in buybacks.
Yeah, it's been, we've, I'm not sure about that number specifically, but we'll buy back about 2x the size that we've already bought back in the next coming weeks. And yeah, our goal is at some point we'll be able to publish revenues almost in real time and then buy back the token accordingly, and then eventually have the token holders vote for the governance. And I think that the point that we want to make is that we want to align the business success to the token holders. And one could argue, because today I'm the main shareholder of the company and we don't have besides Xborg, we actually don't have other shareholders. But we want to say, hey, we're committed to making the business successful, and that I'm not going to be the one pocketing everything. It's going to be the token holders. And we think that the community is happy about this move. And I think it's going to be a greater theme for the end of this cycle, or like wherever we are on this cycle and next cycle. And people will demand more ownership. And if there is revenue that is made, that the revenue is passed on to the token holders.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to bet on teams that are doubling down on their ecosystems and not the foundations that are likely selling behind the scenes relentlessly in times like this because they need to, get their next meal on the table. That's not the team I want to bet on. I want to bet on teams like Xborg that are absolutely putting their money where their mouth is, no pun intended, and going all in for the community.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the fact that I think that if you look at the performance of the token, we also don't have market makers. We don't have, when we do those KOL deals, we try to give as much USDC as possible and not give XBG. That depends on the deals, obviously. But we try and really limit the people that get tokens at a zero cost basis. And we also don't have, those market makers. We don't have centralized exchanges. And so we do have a lot of control over the supply. Like we know essentially who's buying and who's selling. And so we do not have the opacity that you would usually see in, with all of the other tokens. So for example, the big liquidation cascades that you had on the 10th of October, we were not impacted because we were not listed there. And I think people lose a lot more trust towards Binance and the other sectors. And so we caught that narrative pretty well.
Yeah, that was a crazy time period. Yeah, and Xborg really wasn't affected by that at all. That was a beautiful thing to see. Lou, is there anything I left out? Is there anything you want to cover before we wrap it up? And if not, where can they find you? We'll leave links down below in the description. Where can they get involved with Xborg, etc.?
Yeah, I think Discord is very active. The whole team is trying to be active there. I'm on there daily, and it's the best to just get to know the community quite well and get to know the team and ask questions if you're personally interested. Then our X, we've recently announced Cloud9. It's a big team. It's a big esports team. But then, like when you look at our revenues, you must think that much bigger teams are coming, and they are indeed coming. One is that I'm very happy about. It's probably our best team so far, is coming next week. You can ask ChatGPT about what's the best esports teams in the world, and that one's going to pop up. Really excited. And then you'll see the first teams outside of esports being rolled out, and then you'll understand why our move beyond gaming is making a lot of sense, because the caliber of those brands is just much, much bigger.
Yeah. I think you guys have the team, the tool stack, the talent to be able to bring it to any industry, given the proof of concept. Excited to see the new partner coming up next week as well. A little bit of alpha for you guys watching. We always get the alpha here somehow. So Lou's spilling some beans for you guys. And I'll leave your personal Twitter down below too, so they can give you a follow.
Cool. Yeah, thanks so much.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on. I know it's a little bit late for you over where you're at, so we appreciate you as always, Lou. I know you're busy delivering product, and we appreciate you spending some time with us here on the show. Guys, if you enjoyed the content, if you're bullish on Xborg, like the video, subscribe down below, and we will see you on the next video. As always, have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Yep.